At this period between Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays, it has become traditional that as Ambassador of South Africa, I speak to global South Africans in the United States, about what it is that we've achieved in this year, what it is that we look forward to for next year, and to wish you well over this holiday season. However, as we meet now, we meet with heavy hearts. By now we've heard that Nelson Mandela is no more. That man who surprised us with his generosity when so many expected revenge and bitterness. That man who came out of prisoner and liberated all of us from our inhumanity and from our worst selves. That man who stole our hearts and reconciled them, despite sometimes all the misgivings that come from the past. And so we meet in a very somber moment. I'm very happy, for one thing, that for the sake of Nelson Mandela, we have begun to reach out to global South Africans all over the United States. For the sake of Nelson Mandela and in his vision, we have begun to mobilize the enormous energy, the talents, the expertise and the experience that so many South Africans have displayed across the United States, and put it to the service of humanity, both in the United States and back home in South Africa. And in the image of Nelson Mandela, we have begun to unite our hearts despite the chasms that have brought us to the shores of the United States of America. I think the best tribute we should be paying to Nelson Mandela is to intensify what it is that we have done so successfully over the last years while in the United States. To continue to reach out, to continue to contribute, to continue to showing what South Africans are made of, and to continue to reconcile ourselves with each other. I think that our country is losing Nelson Mandela as we prepare to celebrate 20 years of a free and democratic South Africa, 20 years since he became our unifying president. We have seen in the outpouring of love, of respect, of support for Nelson Mandela from all over the world, from heads of states, from every television station, every radio station, every media outlet, all united for the first time in their opinion about who Nelson Mandela was and how great he was. We have seen that we, through that respect for him, that we are in fact respected. Because Nelson Mandela would be the first one to say that he would not have been able to do that if he did not have the kind of encouragement, the kind of support, and the kind of people who comprise the South African nation. And so, in tribute to Nelson Mandela, let us make sure that as we celebrate 20 years since he became president, that we in fact show who we are as South Africans. Be proud of who we are as South Africans. We would not have been able to produce a Nelson Mandela if our troublesomeness outweighed the goodness within our hearts. And so, let us approach 2014 determined to make sure that we live up to the values, the legacy, and the objectives that Nelson Mandela had set for all of us. Let us use this holiday season, when we go to Christmas, when we go to the New Year, let us use it to keep him in our prayers and in our hearts. And as we go there, let us use it to purify our spirits of whatever rancor still lurks around in there. Let us use this period to ensure that we are indeed the children of Nelson Mandela. May you find peace over this next period. May you find resolve to be good in the next year. And may we always be grateful that we are the only people who can really say that Nelson Mandela is of us. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.